Warning, this video is going to ruffle some feathers. As we talk about the deep dark secrets of the PMP certification, I must warn you that you might feel the entire system is sort of rigged when we talk about the PMP certification. Now, this is based on my research, my communication, my interaction with loads of PMP certified professionals as well as those who are aspirants who want to take up the PMP exam. Let's start off with those who are already PMP certified. And here are some of the issues that I keep seeing over and over again that PMP certified professionals face. Number one is not getting job interview calls for project management position after doing their PMP. So you are PMP certified, but you're not getting any job interview calls. Concern number two is not able to clear the job interviews after PMP. So even if you get interview calls, you are not able to clear those job interviews. You're not getting those job offers. And number three, there is absolutely no difference in my performance, in the compensation that I'm drawing, or there is no promotion at all after I completed my PMP. Does this sound similar? Do you know of people who have done their PMP certifications and they complain about one of these? They are either not getting interview calls, they are not able to pass their interviews, or there is absolutely no change in their professional career after they are done with their PMP. Actually, if you look around, you're going to find a lot of professionals who are facing one of these or all of these three issues after they are done with their PMP certification. And to understand where does this problem stem from, you need to understand all the players that are involved in the PMP certification game here, right? So who all are involved in this entire PMP system? Number one are the aspirants, right? You are looking to get yourselves the PMP certification, or you are someone who is already certified. So this is essentially anyone who is preparing for PMP would want to know the value of the certification. Anyone who is already PMP certified and might have the same concerns that we talked about in the previous slide, the three concerns that I mentioned. Player number two here are the instructors that you find online. These are PMP instructors. You might also find training providers, right? The authorized training partners that are providing the 35 contact hours, which is mandatory requirement to be eligible for the PMP certification. So these are the second players. And finally, number three is PMI themselves, the Project Management Institute. They introduced the PMP certification in 1984. And when I talked about how the system is sort of rigged, I meant all three players are involved in this. And let's dive deep and understand what's going wrong with the PMP certification here. So let's start off with those who are either PMP aspirants or are certified project management professionals. What is going wrong here? Number one is treating PMP like a college entrance exam or some competitive exam for government jobs. What happens is, and this could be true for several other countries other than India as well. I'm taking this example from India. But what happens is you take up the university entrance exam. And if you score well in those university entrance exams, you get maybe an engineering degree seat or a management degree seat, right? So these are essentially entrance exams. You're not going to get a project manager seat in your office if you pass the PMP exam. Similarly, there are competitive exams for government jobs as well. You clear those exams and you may get a government job. Here in India, this is an example from India, but like I said, it could be applicable to several other countries. PMP is not an exam like that. If you pass the PMP exam, as I mentioned earlier, you do not get a project manager seat in your office or in some other office. So do not treat PMP like a college entrance exam or a competitive exam for government jobs. Issue number 2 here is aspirants are not interested in the field of project management, or they are preparing superficially just to pass the exam. And this is true not just for aspirants, this is true for a lot of PMP certification holders as well. They have the PMP certification, but they have absolutely zero interest in the field of project management. They just read somewhere that people with PMP certification earn high, so they thought about getting themselves the PMP certification. PMP is one of the most sought out certification in the industry, and if you read this line somewhere on the internet, you might feel like getting yourselves the PMP certification. But if you're not interested in the field of project management, you might just superficially prepare for your exam, and it is a tough exam. It is not an easy exam at all. So you study hard and you get yourselves the PMP certification. But the problem is you are not interested in project management, and that shows in job interviews, that shows in your day-to-day professional performance in your office as well. So this is an issue with PMP aspirants or those who are already certified. Now, issue number 3 is people do not meet the certification eligibility criteria. And this is true at so many levels that you might be surprised. The fact is, there is an eligibility criteria. If you want to get yourselves the PMP certification, there are certain prerequisites that you must meet. Let's take a look at those just so we are on the same page. Am I eligible? This is from the PMI website. Earning your PMP certification is a commitment, and that's why it is valuable. If you have real world project management experience, look at what it says here. If you have real world project management experience, you have finished the hardest part. How many of those who take up the PMP exam actually have real world project management experience? I'm not talking about those who work in a project environment. I'm talking about those who have real world project management experience. So there are two sets of requirements here. If you have a 4-year degree, you need to have 36 months of experience leading projects within the past 8 years. But if you do not have a 4-year degree, you need 60 months of experience leading projects within the past 8 years. I would like you to read this second sentence again. And 35 hours of education or training, this is anyways something that you can get online or offline. There are several institutes that provide this. There are several instructors that provide it online. I do it too. But I want you to focus on the second point here. 36 months or 60 months of experience leading projects within the past 8 years. It says leading projects. How many of you know of someone who has the PMP certification but has never led any project? How many of you know of those that do not have any project management experience, real world project management experience that it talks about here? They have no real world project management experience, but they still want to apply for the PMP certification. Not just that, they apply and they pass the exam as well. This is a problem. This is an issue. And it basically ties back to the first slide that we talked about, right? Where people have PMP certification, but they are not able to get job interview calls because their resume do not have any real world project management experience. Even if they get interview calls, they are not able to clear those job interviews because companies, interviewers, they expect people to have a real world project management experience, which you do not have. You showed it in the PMP application. You passed your PMP exam, but still you do not have that real world project management experience. And that is why you are not able to pass those job interviews that seek real world project management experience. So this is the real issue. People do not meet the certification eligibility criteria. They could be those who are already certified, or they could be those who are just aspirants looking to get themselves the PMP certification. And finally, do not have an end goal in mind. This is again an issue. Let me ask you this. Can you write 2-3 sentences about why you want the PMP certification and what do you expect to happen after you have the PMP certification? Can you write that in 2-3 sentences? If yes, then congratulations, you at least have an end goal in mind. You know what you want after the PMP certification. But there are so many of those out there who do not have an end goal. They could be aspirants or they could be ones that are already PMP certified. They took the exam, they got the certification because they read somewhere that this is a certification which is in demand, but they don't know what next, right? And that is an issue. So PMP aspirants, or those who already have the PMP certification, they were just the first of the 3 players, right? Let's talk about the second player in the story, and that is the instructors or the authorized training partners. These are the people who provide you with the 35 contact hours of project management education. What are the issues here? Now, number one is selling PMP like a commodity, promising the moon, promotion, hike, switch jobs or switch your industries, you name it, just get yourselves the PMP certification and you are going to get it. This is the promise that a lot of instructors, a lot of training partners are making, and this is absolutely wrong. PMP is not a ticket for any of what I just mentioned. There is no guarantee of promotions, hikes, or switching your jobs. Nothing is guaranteed. But people want to sell you their 35-hour courses, and that is why they are promising you all this. Issue number 2 is you don't have to read any books to pass the exam. This triggers me every time I read this, or every time I see someone telling a PMP aspirant that you don't have to read any books. It's almost like telling them that, hey, you don't have to know project management to pass the PMP exam. Just some tips and tricks, just my book. They're trying to upsell you their book or their cards or their mock tests or whatever. Just buy this and you will be done. You don't need anything else to pass the PMP exam. Well, PMP is a professional level certification. A project management professional should actually be looking forward to read more books on project management, should actually be looking forward to know more about project management instead of just looking for ways to pass the PMP certification exam. All right, issue number 3 are some shady practices. There are training providers out there that give you 100% pass guarantee for the PMP exam. Actually, you can test this yourself. If you have a public LinkedIn profile, just post a status saying that I want to get myself the PMP certification. And you are going to get loads of messages in your inbox. There are going to be training providers who might not reveal their names, who might be sending you messages from some fake profiles, and they are going to tell you that you will be able to pass the PMP exam without even appearing for it. Imagine, without even taking the PMP exam, you might be able to pass the PMP exam. That is 100% pass guarantee that people are making. This is absolutely shady. This is absolutely something that PMI does not approve of. Please do not get into this trap of 100% pass guarantee. Issue number 4 here is selling more certification trainings after PMP. After all, that's the business the instructors and the ATPs are in, right? They want to sell their courses. They want to sell you the 35 hours. After you're done with that, maybe go for PGMP, maybe go for PMI ACP, maybe go for PFMP. There are so many certifications that not just PMI, but other bodies also offer. And the only thing the instructors and ATPs are interested in after you're done with your PMP is not to ensure that you get a hike, not to ensure that you pass your job interview. They just want to ensure that you go for yet another certification after your PMP. That is an issue for sure. Finally, the last player in the system is PMI. What can PMI do? I think PMI cannot do much here, except maybe more stringent audits. PMI operates at super high ethics, and I have spoken to some of the folks that work at PMI, that have worked at PMI in the past, and I know PMI is a great organization. They have very high ethics, and they have an audit in place as well, just to make sure that the PMP applications that are coming in are legit. But end of the day, they trust you to fill the information in those application forms correctly, and you share only the truth. That's the expectation that PMI have. They might not have the resources to do more stringent audits. I realize that. Unlike your training partners who are going for the profits, PMI is a non-profit organization, and they might not be able to do much, but they should definitely consider how they can bring in more stringent audits, so that at least those who are not even eligible for the PMP certification don't take up the certification, don't pass the certification, and are then out there looking for jobs which they are not able to get because they never really had real world project management experience. So I hope this video was helpful. PMP, end of the day, remains the #1 project management certification out there. It's the gold standard. I am all for PMP. You will find loads of helpful materials if you're preparing for PMP on this channel itself. But I just feel that the system has sort of rigged, the system has sort of broken, and it needs to be fixed. That is why I created this video. I hope you found it helpful. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye bye.